2 with A's and B's. A&P2 I passed with a B. A&P1 I passed with an A. I feel like A&P2 was a bit harder for me because it was in the summertime, which means that it was so fast, like so freaking fast, and it was a lot of information to grasp, and I felt like I didn't have the best teacher to deal with the class material that was being provided to me. But that's not an excuse. I'm gonna get into how I fixed my mistakes and was able to pass with a B later on. So I passed A&P1 with an A. Anatomy and physiology is no joke. You need anatomy and physiology and you will use it forward. I'm gonna show a couple of my notes because I'm a hoarder when it comes to my work and my school supplies and whatever, and I hang on to it because I never know if I'm gonna need to look back at any of the material to have a refresher or whatever. So besides having a great teacher and taking great notes, of course, another thing I would recommend if you can is find amazing friends, because I had some pretty cool girls that I met and we would study together. We would just, kind of push each other to make sure that we did what we were supposed to do. Go home and study, kind of hype each other up to make sure that the class was fun, enjoyable, and we were eager to learn. We would go to the tutoring center. Never think that the tutoring center is for people who need help, because thinking in that type of way is going to definitely get you to sink fast. You want to go and get as much help as you can before you even need it. If you feel like you're having questions on anything, or you might be second guessing, or you're just a little nervous, or you want to see if anybody can help you get more information about a subject, there's nothing wrong with going and getting help. So we would go to the tutoring center before classes. We would go after classes sometimes. And we would go on the weekends. So I remember in lab, we had the bones test, and everyone was, panicking once it came down to the last couple of days or last week or two, when the teacher was starting to go over all of the bones, and they're like, oh my gosh, you can see everybody's faces, and my friends and I would just look at each other like, we got this. And we all did pretty well. Support is one of the major things that's going to help you get through this nursing journey. So some of the notes that I have are here. So in class, we would have our PowerPoints already printed out. And we had our color pens, our highlighters, whatever. Sorry about the noise. My neighbors are loud. We would have our PowerPoints already ready. We would have our color pens, and we sat right in the front, the very, very front row. And we tried to do that in every single class. For one, it helps you look good. For two, you just absorb all of the information better. At least for me, I hate sitting in the back. You have heads all in front of you. It seems like just Wonderland back there. And I want all of the information that I can possibly get. I want to grasp everything. I don't want to miss not one beat. So we would sit in the very front. And anyways, we had our PowerPoints, we had our pens, and we would highlight things that we felt popped out to us. Our teacher taught from the PowerPoint, but the first thing that she mentioned when we came to class the very first day is, if you're not in class, you will not get this information. So another important thing is go to class. why are you even going to school if you're not going to go to class? But go to class. It's very important, and you will get a lot of extra information a lot of the times that you wouldn't get if you were just going to be home reading the PowerPoints or reading the book. Our teacher gave us a lot of extra information, so we would highlight whatever she stressed, and then whatever she spoke that was really important, we would write down. So here is an example of one of my notes that I took. So I would draw little things and just make little notes, and using colors helped a lot, because for one, everything is fun when you use a bunch of colors. You know, it makes you excited. I am a school supplies junkie, and I get excited just by the idea of using my supplies and going to get new supplies. So I was excited to use my supplies and see all the colors on there. So then when you go back to study, it kind of pops out like, oh yeah, I remember when I wrote that. And for me, I can almost hear the lecture in my head as I'm reading this, and I could instantly remember. So here is another one. We had little pictures on there, and you know, just things that help you remember. Another thing that I would do is I used my phone as a recorder. So we got permission to record as she taught the lecture. So I would just turn on the voice memo or voice recorder on my phone and just set the phone there. And so when I was driving or doing dishes or taking a shower or whatever free time I had, pull those videos up, and I would be able to constantly listen to it. And whatever I might have missed or whatever, I could go back and listen to that lecture. And I labeled every single one, and I did not delete them until maybe A&P2, maybe. I think I might still have them in my phone. I like to keep my information. It really helps. So for A&P1, that's pretty much what worked for me. I took lots of notes on the PowerPoints, and I listened. I attended my class. I got a great teacher, had amazing support, and also what helps is when you're excited about the information. I love every single piece of information that I have been taught so far, except for statistics. Effing hate statistics. I will never ever get along with statistics unless, of course, I get an amazing teacher that teaches me things that I would have never known to get excited about. But anyways, I get really excited about the information that I'm learning, and going to school every single time, it's like a drive runs through me, and having passion for certain things helps as well. And if you don't have that, that's totally fine. If you feel like you're gonna struggle with A&P, just try your best to focus. Get yourself an amazing teacher. Even if you don't have an amazing teacher, you can do this. You just take your notes and you push yourself to get that information into your head and make sure that you remember. Some people use flashcards or make the little the note cards or whatever. That never really worked for me. I found it took way too much time that I really didn't like, and I did not enjoy going over it because I would know the answer. It just, flashcards does not work for me. What works for me is writing as I am taking my notes. Taking notes works for me. Writing it out and going back over material. I would make a note if there was something that I was not sure about or I heard in the lecture that had me a little confused, or maybe she was going too fast over that information. I would have my sticky notes to the side and I would write go back over antigens or whatever it was. So I would go back and I would have a book and I would look at that, and YouTube was a really strong help for me. I would, I would look up little things on YouTube. If I really couldn't get a clarification, I would just use all my resources, and YouTube, my book, and my PowerPoints really helped me. For A&P2, I went in there so confident because all of my classes up until this point had been for me, easy peasy for the most part. I go to class, I do my notes, I look over my notes if I'm confused or if I don't get it, and I make sure I learn that. I go over it, study, rewrite my notes if I need to, and I'm good. I'm ready for my test. Aced it. I know this information. I got it. I remember sitting down for the first day of that class, and I looked at my friend and I was like, I don't know what the fuck she's saying. Like, what is this person talking about? So I had to quickly get myself together. Initially, my brain was like, what the heck is going on? And so the first exam I got, I believe I got like a 60 on it. And I came home crying and devastated. Mind you, this class was in the summertime. I did quickly start to study and try to figure out what was not working. I asked my teacher, what did I do? What did I do wrong? She went home out of the goodness of her heart and looked over the things that I gotten wrong and came back and told me, this is what you did. You know, I kind of maybe seen a trend, whatever. And so I was like, okay. The second time I studied my ass off and I got like, whatever the grade was, it was not good. I think I got a low C. And I was freaking devastated again, because it's like, how am I getting these grades? And I'm studying. It's not like I'm not studying. It's not like I'm like, okay, throw the homework in the bag. I can never look at it until I get back to class and like, oh shit, we have a test. And then I look over it. No, I was studying. And so it was frustrating to me. So at first I started to get frustrated with the teacher. After I did one of the tests, I stormed out of class, grabbed my bags, and was ready to go home. And I was like, no, you can't do this. You have to get yourself together. Looked inside myself, what am I not doing right? So I used YouTube. YouTube was my best friend for this semester, for that semester. I used Crash Course, and there were a couple other channels that I used to help me with the things that I was struggling with. What I would do is look at the topics that needed to be covered and go to the PowerPoints. I would look over the PowerPoints, familiarize myself, and take out the important parts of that. Eventually, once I got myself familiar and felt like I was comfortable with that, I would grab my husband. Hey, can you sit down for me really quick? I have these things that I need to go over. I need to know this. And if I can teach you and have you understand, then I know that I have it. And so I would just sit there and I would teach my husband that information, and teaching him helped it get into my head, because I had to make sure that he was understanding, because I wanted him to know that information. And that really, really worked for me. Everything that works for somebody else may not work for you, but it's good to have other options that may have worked for other people, because you may not even think to try it. It was harder because I wasn't used to studying like that or ever studying that hard, but it really did help me. And I believe that that actually prepared me for my upcoming first semester of nursing school. I hope that this video was not too much of a ramble and you got some helpful information from this. Leave in the comments below some of the things that helped you get through anatomy and physiology, or some of the things that you absolutely did not like about your anatomy and physiology, or things that you absolutely loved. Let's chat in the comments. I really would appreciate if you guys subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that you can receive a notification every time I post. And I promise I will be posting a lot more, and things will be getting very, very fun. As I mentioned, I am starting the nursing program, so I have so many videos ready to come at you guys, and I'm so excited to share my nursing journey with you guys and for you all to see it and be with me and grow, and this is going to be great. So subscribe and leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Bye. Love you guys.